4 days. It's wild to think that in just 4 days we're finally getting the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, the long-awaited Direct that honestly I thought would take forever to get here, but it is now pretty much on our doorsteps. For the longest time, I thought, oh my god, this will take a century to wait for, and January through April will feel like the longest months, but no, it's going to be on Wednesday, and it will be fantastic. In this kind of moment of tranquility before all is revealed, I just kind of wanted to go through, like, I guess my final hopes and predictions, my final expectations of what to expect. I guess because once you know what you know, you can't go back to knowing what you don't know. And I think there is a sort of beauty in that. And so I guess I kind of just wanted to put everything out in the ether um, before we actually do find out everything. And I think the things we do find out will be amazing. And probably, upon some of our most fond memories in the years to come. And so I guess I just want to spout for a couple minutes before we get to that point. I guess just starting out, we can start with predictions. I think they start with price and release. Just like they did in the 2017 presentation, I think we get price and release, and I think it's 400 June, like first 2 weeks of June. A lot of these predictions are going to be like things you hear from a lot of people online, and I'm sorry for my lack of originality. I think what a lot of people say is just because it's common sense and it's what makes sense in the current industry and market, and what people are expecting out of Nintendo developers in the coming years, just based on like prior trends and release dates and stuff. But yeah, I think June release date, and I think $400 are currently in the market. You don't want to price the system so cheap that it's on par with the Switch 1, because then you're showing that the new system doesn't really have value compared to the old one. But you don't want to price it too high, because then you get in the PS5 range, and obviously it's not going to have the computational power to compete with the PS5. I think first 2 weeks of June makes the most sense. You have summer, kids are going out into school, and also based on the expectations for the preview events, those end around like mid-May, late May, and so I think they're going to try to target a launch soon after that. Maybe like 2 weeks after the San Francisco store opens. I think they want to have the store open a couple weeks before the system drops. In terms of games they open with, I really think they could open with really anything. Typically in like the trend of Nintendo Directs in the past couple years, they both open and close with like their heavy hitters, and so I think they'll probably follow that same philosophy with this Direct. So they'll start with the price and the release date, and then they'll go into their first heavy hitter game. And actually, I think that'll be Mario Kart. I think because it's a known quantity, people will be expecting it, and I think getting it out of the way first and like giving it like its first full reveal will be pretty smart. I think that's a great game to like show off your new system with, just because so many Nintendo fans will be early adopters for a new Mario Kart. I think that will drive system sales, and it'll just make a lot of people excited right out of the gate, and I think that's what you want in your presentation. Then really, they could do anything, and I think we'll just get like an onslaught of like main development teams at Nintendo's titles that they've been working on for the past couple years. So like your Animal Crossing teams, your Mario Kart teams, your Zelda team, maybe Zelda team, not sure about that one. Your 3D Mario teams. I do think we will see a new 3D Mario. I think that's very likely. It's been 8 years since Odyssey. We got Bowser's Fury, but I mean, that was a glorified tech demo in my opinion. I love Bowser's Fury, but it wasn't long enough to justify like being considered a new game in my opinion, especially since it's attached to a port of a Wii U game. So yeah, I think we see the next 3D Mario. I guess my prediction for what 3D Mario will look like going into the next generation of Nintendo will be something a la Bowser's Fury. So you'll have like this open environment, but like all the little moons or missions will be like kind of in their own areas in that environment, but you don't have to like go through a menu or anything. You can just kind of like do the levels in the open environment. And I think we'll have like maybe like 6 to 7 of these like giant Bowser's Fury's areas all connected to like one hub world, and then we get to them through like paintings in like Mario 64 in that hub world, rather than like doing the level select that we had in Odyssey, which I love Odyssey, but I much prefer like the sandbox style of just, oh, let me hop into this level through this gate or something. So yeah, I think that's really all I can predict for 3D Mario. I'm really excited to see it. I love Odyssey to death, but until we like do see our first glimpse of it, there's only so much I can speculate on. Moving on to like another big Nintendo franchise, I think we'll see Animal Crossing. I think it's time. Animal Crossing is spearheaded by the same team that does Splatoon, and New Horizons was a giant hit for obvious reasons that I won't go into. Splatoon 3 came out 22, had a skeleton team probably working on Splatoon 3 for like the last year and a half, I want to say, and Grand Festival ended. So I think that team is probably wrapping up a new Animal Crossing and getting ready to start development on Splatoon 4. And so I think we see the next Animal Crossing, and then by, I want to say no later than May 2026, we get that released, and it'll be like the giant spring title that Nintendo wants people to look forward to. In terms of what Animal Crossing could look like, I really don't know. I think they want to keep that customization aspect of New Horizons, because I think once you put those systems in a game, you can't really go back. I feel like you don't want to take away that player freedom. You just want to fix the issues that people complained about in New Horizons, and I think a lot of that was just missing the traditional elements that like maybe New Leaf had or City Folk had. Like, I know a lot of people hated how cookie cutter the villagers felt, me especially. I felt like the personality types were way too redundant. I think you could use a lot more customization and just have like a lot more like specialized areas on your island or in your town or your village or whatever. Just make it so you can still customize, but it feels more lively than just like the 2 to 3 shops you have on your island, and then that's it, right? Like they did have that one area in New Horizons where like you could get on the plane, and I think it was like Harvey's Island, and you can go to all the shops. I don't want to go on a plane to see all those shops. I just want to have all that stuff on my island or on my town, and then just go to them whenever I feel like it. It makes the place feel more populated and alive, and I really like that about New Leaf. I think they'll use Animal Crossing actually to kind of pivot into like NSO features, or just like the restructured online infrastructure, because I think that is going to be like one of their big selling points of Switch 2 is just how much better their online capabilities will be. And actually I think they'll use Mario Kart for that too, because in the Mario Kart teaser they showed in the Switch 2 reveal trailer, you can see 24 starting positions, and I think them having 24 players at a time in a match is kind of like signifying they have the bandwidth to deal with that many amount of players in a single lobby racing against each other. And so I think they'll use Mario Kart to show their online capabilities, but they'll also use Animal Crossing, because Animal Crossing New Horizons has pretty notorious shit online. Like when you visit other people, it doesn't feel good. You have to like wait 10 minutes just to like load. Not 10 minutes, that's an exaggeration, like 2 minutes. You have to like wait 2 minutes to load their island and like go through the cutscenes, and like when someone leaves the island, it like messes your entire room up. You don't want to deal with that. No one wants to deal with that. I think they'll make it a lot more cohesive of an experience, and I think they'll have like hub areas for Animal Crossing that you can kind of like go to with your friends, and I'm struggling to think of like innovative ideas for how they'll do Animal Crossing online. I just think they'll have something that feels just, I don't know, it'll feel a lot nicer than it felt in New Horizons, and I think they'll use this platform to kind of show that. I guess kind of continuing the online train, I don't think we'll see Splatoon for the same reasons I just mentioned for Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is done by the same team, so I think Splatoon has 1 or 2 years before it gets shown. I do think they want it sooner than later, just because Splatoon is like one of the key pillars of Nintendo's IPs, and it does really well in Japan, and I think that's a good way to get people on your new system in the Japanese market, or really any market that's not America. I wish Splatoon would do better in America, but it just doesn't. So until then, I think Splatoon 4 has like a year or two before it gets shown. Other IPs in the online category, maybe ARMS 2. I think there's a chance. I don't think Nintendo wants to abandon that IP yet. I just don't know if they know what to do with it because of its mixed reputation. I think it only sold a couple million, which is still pretty good. But selling 1 million on the Switch, as good as that is, it's not like a gangbuster, right? Like your gangbusters are your 10 million sellers, like your Breath of the Wilds, your Mario Kart 8, games of that caliber. That's, you know, what they want to get on Switch first. And so I'm not sure if they'll use ARMS right away, just because it's not really a novel IP anymore. I think ARMS on Switch 1 was really to like show the motion capabilities of the Joy-Con and like how flexible they were. But now that they don't really have that like innovation to demonstrate, I think maybe ARMS might not be here right away. It could come back, I just don't think it'll be here on launch. I guess kind of like going into that innovation aspect of Nintendo, we have the long rumored mouse mode. It's not really a rumor anymore, there's patents for it out there. They kind of like showed it in the trailer too, with like the Joy-Con sliding across the table. So I mean, mouse mode is like pretty much guaranteed, right? I guess it's just like what games will use it and like how will they showcase it. And so I think there will be like a portion, a pretty sizable portion in the middle of the direct, just like showing all the gimmicks of the mouse con and how they'll be used in games, and like how like flexible it'll be for certain experiences, like maybe like simulation games that use like point and click features on PC. I know a lot of people complain about like how like static they feel, or like how like, I don't know, just like not great they feel on console. And so I think they'll like use mouse mode to like kind of show that off and like show how more intuitive it is on Switch 2. People are saying, I've seen people say like Mario Paint, Mario Maker. I don't think we're getting a new Mario Maker. I feel like there's not really much left you can do with Mario Maker. As nice as it would be to have that on Switch, I just don't think we're getting that. So I think we'll get maybe Mario Paint as like a cute little $10 snipper clips type of title. I don't think it'll be like a giant $60 game they sell you. But it could be like a tech demo for mouse mode. And then hopefully we get like a new IP for it. I think that would be great. New IPs are always like one of my favorite things about new gen Nintendo. I think when they're innovating, that's when I think they're at their strongest, even if people don't seem to think so in terms of how those series sell. But yeah, hopefully we get some kind of new IP that takes advantage of that mouse mode. I don't think mouse mode will be as like critical as like, oh, Wii motion controls or the gamepad on the Wii U. It'll just be like a nice novelty to have, but it won't be like the central force of like your system's capabilities. It'll just be like it'll be another option you have when you're going to play a game. Speaking of mouse mode, I think this is where we'll finally see Kid Icarus. You call me Copium, call me Hopium, call me fake believer, whatever. I don't really care. I think Kid Icarus is coming back. I think Sakurai has been working on a new game, not a port. I think it's a new game for Kid Icarus in the last 3 years. I think mouse mode will be pretty integral to it for that, like, not gyro, but like simulating the stylus controls they had on 3DS. I think that'll be kind of the answer to how you deal with that control scheme on like a modern day console. And yeah, I think it'll be a brand new game. I think it'll be beautiful. I think we'll get all the voice actors back from Uprising, and I think it'll be great. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be there. I think there's a really good chance. Metroid Prime 4, I think, will be how they kind of show the backwards compatibility. I think they want to make that a really big point of Switch 2, is kind of reinforcing that your library on Switch 1 it's not going anywhere. I mean, we just had the Switch 1 Direct on Thursday, showing the digital game cards and like the transferring between systems. That was very deliberate. They're doing this now because they want you to be able to switch your games between your Switch 1 and your Switch 2. And they want it to be as seamless as possible, and so they're using this backwards compatibility thing to like really like make you feel secure in your Switch 1 purchases nowadays, so you know it'll go to the next system whenever you decide to upgrade. And so I think Metroid Prime 4 will be like the poster child for that backwards compatibility, and I think it'll be the poster child for the Switch 2 edition games that they're gonna reveal here, because they leaked that on the digital game cards section of their website like a couple days ago, in fine print or something. It says, digital game transfers will not work for Nintendo Switch 2 edition games when going between Switch 1 and Switch 2. And Nintendo Switch 2 edition games obviously will be Switch 1 games that have higher capabilities on the Switch 2 using that new hardware. And so I think Metroid Prime 4 will be the first game they use to show that Nintendo Switch 2 edition better capability, and I think it'll look a lot nicer. I think it'll still be a Switch 1 game at heart, but it'll look really pretty, and it's gonna make me want to buy the game even more. It's 100% getting a showcase here, regardless. They didn't reveal its release date during the Switch 1 Direct. It's coming out this year. Didn't get a release date. They're obviously saving that for Switch 2. So I think we get the release date here. I think it's day and date with the console release. I think that's, you've had this game announced since the launch year of Switch 1, so you might as well just launch Switch 2 with it. I feel like it's kind of that Breath of the Wild situation where people were waiting for Breath of the Wild for so long. Kept getting delayed, no one really knew what was happening with it, and then it was released with the Switch. And now you can make the argument, well, Wii U was a dying console, they had to put it on Switch, and yes, while you're correct, I don't think that really matters. I think because they restarted it like halfway through Switch 1's life cycle, and they knew this new system was coming, and they had Retro doing it, they were like, hey Retro, just make it as nice as you can, and we'll use it as advertising material for our next gen system. And I think it'll work out well for them, for their core fan base, because who are you trying to market your system to day one? It's your core fan base, and your core fan base is probably gonna want to buy the new Metroid Prime game, and so they'll use it through that avenue, and I think it'll work. I think it'll sell pretty well. I guess kind of going on to other Switch 2 edition games, I think we'll see Breath of the Wild. It was rumored at GDC a couple months, or no, more than a year back. It was rumored as a tech demo for Switch 2's capabilities, and the Switch 2 showing the 4K capabilities of Breath of the Wild and how much better it ran at like 60 FPS. And I'm sure that's a very easy game to showcase the differences, because if you've played Breath of the Wild on Switch, you know, well, played Breath of the Wild in on any system, you know it kind of runs like shit in a lot of areas. Like Korok Forest, you will drop to like probably 20 frames a second. It's really bad. And so I think we'll get Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition. Hopefully Tears of the Kingdom too. I think they won't do both right away. I think because it's Nintendo, I think we'll get drip feeds of Switch 2 edition games, but like most of their like giant back catalog of games, I think we'll see get Switch 2 editions. Like maybe Odyssey. Odyssey already runs pretty well, so I'm not sure like what the demand is for like a Switch 2 edition, but like maybe games that run pretty bad, like Age of Calamity or something, games that have really bad frame rates, hopefully we'll get Switch 2 editions. But I think the only two we'll see announced here is just Breath of the Wild and Metroid Prime 4. And I guess we still have to talk about UI. I do think they'll show UI. I don't think they'll have like a giant segment on it, just because I don't think Nintendo will see it as like a giant thing that's like really integral to their presentation, unless it's like a giant new feature of the UI, which there's been the long rumored community app on the Nintendo Switch 2, where it'll be like their answer to leaving Twitter. Well, not leaving Twitter, but getting off of any social media and just having their own proprietary social media. That's not as much of a dumpster fire as Miiverse was. I think this is what the C button will be used for. It'll be used to pretty much open up this social media hub where you can share your clips, look at news feeds coming out, and this will probably like integrate with all the new apps they have coming out, like Nintendo Music, Nintendo Today. It'll all kind of like be in this one community section of the Switch 2 UI. And I think this will be like how you make friends and add people, and hopefully voice chat. I'm not entirely sure if that'll be a thing. It probably will be. I think they know no one wants to talk on their fucking dumb mobile app, and they're probably going to use Discord instead, and Nintendo will never want you to use Discord. Like, that's just never going to be a thing they want you to do, and so they'll make their own like in-console voice chat system. That's going to be like the community thing that's been rumored for a long time. Yeah, and I think they'll show that off. I don't think they'll really spend too much time on UI. I think they'll show a glimpse of the eShop, and the eShop will run much better because it'll be a dedicated app now instead of a web browser. And yeah, I think we'll get themes. I don't think they'll be as expressive as they were on 3DS, but I think they'll be nice enough to where you'll be able to customize your Switch to a pretty good degree. Part of me is wondering if they'll do like the PS5 thing, where instead of really like setting it to one theme, it's just based on the game you have like currently hovered over. Which I could see Nintendo doing that, but there's also a lot of money to be made with themes, and so I feel like they're leaving money on the table by not doing themes, and so hopefully we get themes, because I love themes, and I think it would be great for Switch 2. It's such a personalized device, you know? Like, who doesn't want a theme on their Switch? Anyways, I think after all that, they'll really only have maybe a couple more games to show. They'll clearly have a third-party section. I don't know to the degree of which they'll have third parties. I think they do want to spend a lot of time just on like the hardware and their first-party software, but I do think we'll see like giant third-party games come over. Like, I think we'll see Final Fantasy VII Remake finally come over. I think we'll see Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring is like a surefire bet, just because that game is so popular, and the game runs on PS4, And so for a system with hardware that's rumored to be around that of a PS4, I think it's like guaranteed we get Elden Ring. Maybe even Night Rain that comes out this year. I think we could see that. I'm kind of struggling to think of what other third parties we could get. I think the first couple of years of Switch 2, I think will be kind of catch up on like games that couldn't run before, but we'll start seeing like day and date games pretty soon. I think we'll get Street Fighter 6. I think that seems like a pretty good Nintendo console, or a game to put on a Nintendo console. Capcom has a good relationship with Nintendo. Really, we could see anything. I think we'll see anything and everything. I think Switch 2 will be the most third parties Nintendo has ever had, and it's gonna be great. I don't know the degree to which they'll be downscaled. I don't think it'll be much, because I think Switch 2 will be easier to work with, and they'll be able to take advantage of Switch 2's in-house DLSS, which will make games inherently look nicer, even with lower quality hardware. So I think porting games will not be as complicated as it was for Switch 1, which is just inherently a good thing. So I think we'll get our third party section, and then they'll end off with 1 or 2 games, and I feel like they'll either end off with a new 3D Mario, or something like Smash, or a new 3D Zelda. Now, 3 of those, out of the 3 of those, one of those is the most likely, and that's 3D Mario. Smash, I don't know. I don't want to say it's impossible, because it's not impossible. I mean, Ultimate came out in 2018. It'll be 7 years old this December. And so, there's always a chance. I guess Ultimate just feels so complete in my mind. It's like, I really got everything I wanted in that game. We got Sora, we got Pyra, we got Banjo. To me, it's like, I don't really want a new Smash game. Well, okay, I shouldn't say I don't want a new Smash game. It's just that we have so much quality content in Ultimate that I feel bad for asking for a new Smash game. Like, I feel like we don't need one. Like, we don't deserve one yet, Like, I feel like it's still gonna be a while yet. But the timeline matches up. Like, it could happen. And so if it does happen, I'll be surprised, but like, it would make sense. And Smash sells systems, and so it could happen. It could definitely happen. I just don't know if it will happen, because it just doesn't feel right yet in my brain. But it could happen, and it might happen. And if it does happen, then, well, you know what? That will, like, they'll win. They'll win the entire presentation with Smash. But until it happens, I'm gonna say no, it's not gonna be there. But there's like a 2% chance, and I'll just leave it at that. Zelda, I think is more likely than people expect. I think Tears of the Kingdom launched 23, so 2 years ago. And that game notoriously had a year of polish. Like, they went out and said, we're delaying this game a year just to polish it. And so that means they finished development, like the main team finished development around 22. And that was an asset reusing sequel, right? And so I think you could have even started planning for the game after Tears of the Kingdom, before Tears finished development. And I think maybe planning for the next 30 Zelda on new hardware could have happened maybe around 21 or 2020. So, like, really, it's not impossible to see the next 30 Zelda. Do I think we'll get a trailer? Probably not. But we could get like a teaser like of like the art style or something, saying, hey, a new 3D Zelda is in development for Switch 2. And I think that would generate a lot of excitement and drive people to be interested in your new system. And I think I would be one of those people. I mean, I don't think I shouldn't say I know I would be one of those people, like 100%. So, yeah. New 3D Zelda, I think it might be likely. And really, that's all I can think of. Anything else would be like a cherry on top. I think that's like majority of what they can show, of what they will show, of what I want them to show. Um, I guess just like what I really want, I just want to be surprised. Like I'm not really hard to be entertained. Like it's not hard to entertain me. I just want something that will really really just like make me look forward to the system. I mean, I'm already looking forward to it, but like I want a presentation that's like, yeah, man, like this is why we love Nintendo. This is why we're Nintendo fans. This is why you should be looking forward to the next generation. I want to be surprised first and foremost, and I think they'll do it, man. I think they're gonna drop some shit that will be pretty great. Oh fuck, you know what? I didn't talk about Xenoblade because I guess just I've been playing X the past couple days, and so I guess I didn't think it was possible. I mean, I still don't really think it's possible. I don't think there's anything Monolith Soft will show that's in-house Monolith Soft. There might be a game that they've helped with, like maybe like the new Animal Crossing they could be helping with, but I don't think we'll see anything from Monolith. I mean, it's not impossible, I guess, because Monolith just pumps out RPGs. Like, it's insane. I don't know how they developed Xenoblade so fast. And I guess 3 did come out in 2022, so it's not impossible. I don't think it's time for a new Xenoblade. They were hiring for a new RPG a while back, but I'm not sure if that's gonna go anywhere. If it does, then we could see it here. I would love a new Monolith RPG, like just a new IP, just completely unrelated to Xenoblade. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, no, that's really it. I can't think of anything else. I just needed to get those predictions, those hopes out of my system. I need it documented somewhere so I can look back after all this is over and be like, aha, you were wrong. Yeah. Switch 1 Direct was great. Can't wait for the new Rhythm Heaven. Yeah, no, that's really it. I feel like if I keep talking, I'll just start rambling. So it's gonna be a great time, and I'm really looking forward to it. And Switch 1 generation, wow, what a generation! I don't think they'll top it. I don't think it'll sell more than the Switch 1, but I think it's gonna be a presentation to remember, and I can't wait, man. So yeah, see you on the other side.